Welcome in and welcome back to the OUA season previews. We are now doing the Toronto Varsity Blues, so one close to my heart, and we're welcoming in offensive lineman Garrison Pyle, the anchor of the Varsity Blues O-line. Garrison, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
And obviously, camp well underway now.
Yeah.
Camp like starting to set in, or after so many years, is it kind of mitigated by your recovery?
I'm starting to get used to it by this point. The first few days are always tough getting back into the swing of things, but by this point it's starting to settle down. Body's starting to adapting and we're starting to get there.
Nice. And I know obviously the strength conditioning staff puts a lot of time into recovery
Yeah.
at U of T and with the Goldring Center. How have you kind of found that helps your team get through this stretch of training camp before you get to week one?
I think it is immensely valuable. We have the hot and cold tubs every day after practice and lots of open therapy sessions for guys who need it, whether they got a little banged up or they just want to go in and get some stretching and get some work done on them. So I think that's been super valuable for our team to stay healthy and keep moving forward.
And as we look at last year and kind of the year before, U of T had this long stretch of not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now it's a stretch of every year has been a trip to the postseason since COVID, it seems like. And what is it going to take for U of T to get back this year?
I think to get back to the playoffs this year, it's going to be, keeping with what we've been doing. We've been able to, over the past years, really come together as a team since COVID. A lot of guys were able to stay downtown. And although we may not have had a season that year, keep working and keep grinding together. So I think if we stay as close like a family like we have been, and I think this has been the best year for that so far in my career of having the team be so close knit. I think if we just have each other's backs and keep working together towards that goal, I think we'll be in there no problem.
And because we are looking forward to the start of the season a little bit now, opening up against the Guelph Griffins, you get to play your brother opening week.
Yeah.
I know off air a little bit, you're saying I hope I at least get one D-line rep, but I'm sure you're looking forward to that game to start the season.
Yeah, I am. It's, I've played them once and the game didn't go our way 2 years ago when we played them. But, regardless if I actually get on the field with him at the same time, it's a really, really cool experience to play against a family member at such a high level. It's pretty cool for the family.
And for the defense, it gets to go against your brother the whole time. Talk to
Yeah.
us about kind of the guys returning on that D line and in the secondary. I know there's some big playmakers that's kind of making up the Varsity Blues defense this year.
So we had some guys graduate, but still do have a lot of guys coming back. Like we still have Jackson Mayer off the edge, Keenan Dell up the middle, and Jeremy Sinclair off the other edge. And we're expecting other guys to take a step forward on the D line, like Parker Williams, who's had a great offseason, great summer, and coming into a great camp so far. And in the back end, we still have Owen Cassidy, who was up there and tackles and plays made for the OUA last year. And we're looking forward to him anchoring down the secondary and keeping things in check back there. It should be an exciting defense to watch.
With that secondary, what is it kind of like for you going against so many guys that you've played against year in, year out, like Jackson and Owen Sinclair and Keenan, just every day in practice? What does that mean for you?
It means a lot because, they're sticking through it. It's, you start to get used to the guys you're playing with. So, Jackson and I came in the same class and I know his moves like the back of my hand and he knows how I'm going to block him. So it's coming up with different ways of how to beat him. And it's a little cat and mouse game going back and forth. And even with, Jeremy and Keenan, they are a year younger, but still they're going into their fifth year. They've been around for a while. So it's always been a going back and forth, trying to edge each other out each day, which is a pretty cool experience.
And I know we start on the defense, and that's probably on Wade. He probably wanted to talk defense first, but
that's fair.
I'm going to ask you about your own group now because you are, as Wade said off the top of the show, the anchor of that offensive unit, offensive line, and you have a pretty dang good cast behind yourself with, Kinsale Phillip and some of the receivers out there in Toronto. So talk about your own group a little bit.
So we, like any team, we have some graduating guys, but we do have lots of guys to come in and anchor us and keep us moving forward, but also a lot of potential. of the newer rookies coming in too. So like you mentioned, we still have Kinsale Phillip coming off his East West Bowl year and his great season that he had last year. And I know he's looking to take a big leap forward, and he's been showing it in camp so far. Receiver wise, we still have guys like Nigel LeGood, Nick Green, Ethan McKinnon, those big playmakers coming back, guys who can get down the field fast and, get some yards after the catch too, which is always great. I think one of our strong points on offense will be our running backs this year as well, because we have Adam Williams back, we have Lucas Stoikos, and a few other big name backs coming through. So that's going to make my job as an O lineman a bit easier, having some great backs to block for.
When we talk about that running back group and how loaded they are, do you guys as a group up front get kind of juiced when you know there's always fresh legs behind you? Like, this guy is not going to dog it on any rep because there's always going to be someone wheeling behind you.
Yeah, that gets us fired up. Like, we obviously want to create the huge big running lanes and all that, but it's pretty awesome seeing we only open it up a little bit in a run period and our back just blasts through and carries forward for 6 yards. Like, that's pretty awesome. And knowing that we have a big cast of running backs that, Adam can be in for the first 4 plays of a drive. And when he gets tired, we have a guy that's pretty damn good coming in anyways. So that's pretty awesome to know. And also with the pass protection too. All of our backs have taken a step up in their pass protection this year or this offseason, which is going to do wonders to help us out as well.
Awesome. And in kind of growing the offense year over the year, obviously Kinsale, like you mentioned, coming into another year as a starter, you guys get some consistency in your schemes as well. What is the next step in growth for that unit?
I think a bit of variation is our next step. Yeah, we know what we're good at this year, which is running the football. I mean, that's the big thing. We were one of the top rushing teams in the OUA last year. So I think it's looking at getting different looks for the offense, different ways of doing what we're good at. Adding, maybe different formations, adding in a few new plays, stuff like that. But I think the variation, now that we know what we're good at, it's to build forward from that.
And talk about the coaching staff, because there's been some great consistency in having Coach Mullen, Coach Cappy on the defensive side. But for you guys as well, Coach Marshall's kind of brought in this great group that's held together. And talk about what they mean to you guys each year.
I mean, they're awesome. They're what keeps us together. It's amazing having such a consistent core group of coaches, like you mentioned, Cap, Marshall, Mully, and now Joe Demore getting in that mix as well. This is his second year with the group. We're coming into camp knowing the playbook already, so we have an edge up. We can start building on how to step forward as an offense, and having those core guys, those core coaches, knowing that the players, we trust them, we can go to them with anything. Besides coaches, they're also friends. Like, it's friendly banter, stuff like that keeps camp light and enjoyable, not as just getting beaten down by the long practices and the meetings and stuff. It makes it fun.
How have you found the offense and defense competitiveness in camp? Has there been an edge towards you guys or towards the defense at all?
It's hard to tell, but everybody has good and bad days. And at this point, I say we're pretty even. Defense may have a better period in one period, and then offense can light them up the next. It's been pretty even, but the big thing to take away is that there's been a lot of fight. Even with the rookies, which we were expecting the older guys to have some fight and have some nastiness to them, but we're seeing a lot of the younger guys really showing that effort and that will, the drive to keep going, even though it may not technically, there may be some things to clean up, but the effort and the drive is all there for everybody, which is, that's something you just can't teach.
When you see rookies come in like that and they're just kind of mean and they're having good camps, what does that do for you as a veteran guy? Like, what does that kind of show you from the young guys? It
obviously shows that no spot is safe. Like, you have these rookies that are chomping at the bit to get there, and they're fighting and they're grinding to get on the field. That pushes us older guys and us guys to get better, to keen in on the little details. But besides that, like taking it away from myself, it also shows me the potential of the team for the future because this is my last year. So I'm done after this. So it makes me feel good knowing that we have guys that are willing to work and fighting to play and get on the field. It's leaving the team in a good spot.
And I want to ask you about leaving the team in a good spot because you've kind of seen it from my last year when we played together. We were 0-8.
Yeah.
And now not only have you broken the playoff drought, but you've maintained it for a couple of years, and it's really put the program in a good spot. What does that mean to you and the group of guys that you came in, like Jackson, to go from that point to where you are now and see the program growth and where you guys are kind of heading out the door with it?
That means everything to me and to us. Like that's my favorite achievement that I've had personally, or I've had at this team. Like as a class and as a group, we've been able to bring U of T from the depths. U of T used to be to check, Guelph's playing U of T, they don't need to worry about us. We'll just worry about Western or something. Now teams actually need to pay attention and notice us. That is probably that's awesome. It's really cool. And it's cool to see the younger kids buying into that as well. We have these rookies coming in that want to keep making us great. They're not just passive about going through camp and going through school and the season. And if we want to keep winning, and that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Connor, do you have any more?
I got one more because I'm a big stats guy. I like kind of diving into the stats here. And one of my favorite stats that I found before we kind of jumped on here was that you guys were finished the OUA last year as the number one team in third down conversion percentage.
Yeah.
And for anybody who knows Canadian football, right? Like, yeah, sure, you have your kind of like third and mid or your third and threes or whatever, but a lot of these third down conversions are third and short, right? Like it's third and one type plays. To see that number as an offensive lineman, like what does that mean to you guys?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I didn't know that stat. So, thanks for bringing that up. But, especially as a center, when we run a lot of QB sneaks like that gets me fired up because we get a good push. And that also means our quarter Kinsale, he's a dog back there. He's fighting to get through that line to keep the drive going. Like going back to the drive the fight that we have. I think that reflects that. We just need half a foot to get it, and we're all driving, pushing as hard as we can to get that. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Well, the buy-in seems to be very real over the last couple of years with you guys and the groups you're bringing in, and it certainly has paid off on the field. So thank you so much for joining us. I know I'll get to see you guys up on Labor Day weekend for your home opener. Yeah. Connor won't be joining us, even though it's his alma mater. That's gonna, dare I say, get beat.
I'll see if I can get there. I'm trying.
You're gonna be in Montreal by then.
No, not yet.
But no, thank you so much for joining us, and all the best with the rest of camp. We hope it treats you well.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.